Good evening, everyone. Today is Teachers' Day, all of us know. And here we have two educational celebrities to share with us their journey and their take on the topic um, uh, d- uh, leadership in crisis and reimagining the future. Such a relevant topic, and especially in the past 2 years, with online classes and so much about how much the teachers had to really get technology friendly and uh, and what are the hassles अगर रीइमेजिनिंग द फ्यूचर में हैसल्स क्या है इन सब की बातें करेंगे आज हम ग्लोबल वुमेन प्रोनिक पेज पर थैंक यू सो मच आवर पैनलिस्ट फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे let me first introduce you to our first speaker, Ms Manjit Legha. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. Great. Ms. Manjit is a happy edupreneur. Wow, what a term, edupreneur, who has a vast experience in the education sector spreading across 23 years. Very passionate about children, education, and schooling, and all that is connected with education per se. Well, she also dons many hats, as an, just listen to her hats, educator, a teacher, a management professional, a soft skill trainer, a YouTuber, an author, an influencer, public speaker, passionate storyteller. Wow, wow. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really looking forward to today's session. And these days, she's joyously engaged in designing blended curriculum, training, writing children's storybooks, and creating YouTube with stories. And one thing common in all her avatars is her passion for teaching. So, wishing you a very happy Teachers' Day, Miss Manjeet.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words, Savita. Thank you so much. And a big hello to everyone who's watching us.
You're welcome. That's great, ma'am. Now, let me introduce you to our second speaker on the panel. Her name is Dr. Kavita Bajpai. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. She is a director and co founder of the International School of Thrissur and K8 Edu Ventures LLP. A passionate educationist, Dr. Kavita Bajpai has always been considered a progressive leader. With a master's degree in physics and doctorate in educational leadership, wow, this is such a different kind of doctorate. She has an experience of more than 20 years and in leadership role for 10 years. Handled various national, international curriculum. During the tenure, she has been recognized for child-centric approach, skills, team building, quality of work, progressive thinking, spontaneity, planning, and execution of successful CSR programs with media mileage and networking is an added strength. Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Vajpai, and we will be knowing more about you as we progress for this session. So, to
Thank you. Thank
start
you
with,
so very much. You are too generous, I must say. So, thank you.
you're welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hmm. First of all, I really want to congratulate you on behalf of all the viewers and for all the teachers. तो आप दोनों हैं हमारे हम दुनिया के सभी शिक्षकों के आपको विश करके आपको थैंक करके विश कर रहे हैं रियली थैंक यू सो मच welcome. So let's start. Let me hear first opening remarks from you on our topic, which is leadership in crisis and reimagining the future. Ms. Manjeet, would you like to
Yeah.
go first?
So, sure. Okay. So, thank you, Savita, and all of the wonderful people who are listening in to a teacher today, for taking out time and listening to a teacher, which in itself is a huge, huge achievement for me and for my community, I must say that. Because क्या होता है ना कि we often tend to take the teacher for granted. As a normal everyday person जो इधर उधर हाँ ठीक है वो एक teacher भी है and all that. We hardly ever take a teacher seriously. I mean, for the kind of effort she puts in, for the kind of passion that she has, for the kind of zeal that she has, we hardly take our teachers very seriously. We do not give them the standing and the respect and the credibility that we give to, no offense meant to the doctors, engineers, and surgeons, no offense meant to them. They do a great job, but I feel that the teachers do an equally great job. So our job is to, give the respect to a teacher so that she's able to deliver more. The biggest challenge today, if you talk about leadership crisis, whether it is in the COVID period or the pandemic period or the pre-pandemic period, was that a teacher is fast losing faith in herself, right? Because very often, half the time we turn her into a clerk in school, half the time we turn her into a voter's duty on the field and all that stuff. Do we ever see an engineer doing anything outside his job? Do we ever see a doctor doing something, a doctor also and a teacher also? We never see that, right? But we always tend to go towards the teacher and say कि आप ये भी कर लो, आप वो भी कर लो, आप बच्चे भी संभाल लो, आप प्रोफेशनल भी हो, आप रिजल्ट भी लेके आओ, ये अपने एक्स्ट्रा आवर्स में ये सब भी कर लो. So that, what happens, the teacher's energy level go down. The teacher starts doubting herself. Okay, am I dispensable? Am I non-essential? Where am I? What am I? Am I a teacher because it suits me and it suits the society, that I am here to do a job which after 2 p.m., which means I am free. People view me as free after 2. Nobody realizes the kind of work which a teacher puts in after 2 p.m. Planning for her class, looking for, innovative techniques for a class, getting trained on the field, getting retrained on the field, untrained and retrained, reskilled and upskilled. It's a continuous journey for a teacher. So, yes, there is a leadership crisis over there. We see very few teachers coming up as leaders. वो क्या होता है ना कि रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में वो कहीं ना कहीं दबके रह जाते हैं. But I have also seen that those teachers whom we can manage to motivate, whom we can manage to inspire and make them feel like, matlab, you are it. You matter a lot. You count. They rise up to the occasion. Hmm? So my request is that we need to keep doing this. We need to keep motivating our teachers. We need to keep energizing our teachers till such time every teacher in our country feels that, yes, I am proud to be a teacher. I am a happy and a proud teacher. Then see the magic happen. A motivated and inspired teacher, a passionate teacher can create wonders. So it is our duty as mothers, as parents, as citizens, as anybody, as regular citizens of the country also, to make sure that our teachers stay motivated so that they can look after our children the way a guru, removal of darkness, guru shabd ka matlab hi wo hota hai na, they can do. That they don't remain just the curriculum keeper, or they just don't remain the syllabus makers or the question marks and the assessment and the summative and the formative. सिर्फ वहां तक सीमित नहीं है teacher. A teacher's influence extends to eternity. So yes, definitely, crisis तो है, pandemic से पहले भी था. पैंडेमिक में थोड़ा दूसरा शेप लिया क्राइसिस में, उसमें उसके बारे में we will talk a little later. But right now, my message, one reason why I accept every talk show, accept panel talks, because I feel that the more we speak about it, more people will understand our pain points, the more people will understand the kind of energy, the kind of love, the kind of passion that a teacher brings into her job. So be proud of your teacher, whether it is your teacher or your child's teacher. So that's my message. Over to you, Savita.
वंडरफुल वंडरफुल सो ट्रू. बस सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स तो आज आए हैं, टीचर्स का इन्फ्लुएंस तो बरसों से है और अक्रॉस जनरेशंस है, लाइक रियली. And we must be thankful to them, because the kind of pains that they undertake to make our lives, it's really extraordinary. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Kavita, for your opening remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Savita, and thank you, Ms. Manjit, for your words of wisdom. So, when I have to take up from here, when you talk about teachers leading in crisis and reimagining the future. So this is not a new topic. And if you look into, just a year back, UNESCO has given this as a theme to celebrate the Teachers' Day across the globe. The World Teachers' Day we celebrate on 5th of October, and the theme was given on that this particular Teachers' Day last year, so it's a 2023. So the purpose of the theme was to understand, to acknowledge, and to empower the educators. But before that, I would like to say one thing. The all this empowerment of all this recognition, everything has no meaning if we as an educator don't respect our profession. I last year I wrote a poem and that became somehow pretty popular and it came back to me number of times. Even today morning I got up and the first message was my own poem to me, uh, where I actually spoke about how we underestimate ourselves as an educator. If you ask someone, you will say, okay, what do you do? Nothing, I'm a teacher. This is how they start. Or if, as a school leader, I have come across even the people who came for the interview where they said, since I have nothing to do, then I thought, why not to do teaching? Or I want to take a break from the corporate because my children are small, so I want to be in teaching for 2 to 3 years. So it's not about others, it's about first ourselves to understand our responsibility, to understand our worth, and then look forward for the recognition. Because if we ourselves are not giving the due importance to our profession, then I think this struggle would continue. Because even if you look at the percentage, I doubt if more than 5% of the percentage of the educators come by choice into education. So these are the areas. So I always feel that first we have to understand what are we. We have to understand what do we do, and we have to understand what is the responsibility. Accordingly, we have to take pride in our own profession. Accordingly, we have to deliver in the class, and accordingly, we have to contribute towards the society. It's not that people in the world, they have never valued gurus. From the day one, the guru has its own level, guru has its own value and its own importance. But what happened with time, we ourselves have started diluting our position in such a way that now if others dilute, I mean, we should not be surprised because it is us who should take pride that yes, we are the leaders ourselves. Because if you look at any educator, whether it is teaching in the kindergarten or teaching the higher secondaries, the teacher has to play as a leader inside the classroom, outside the classroom, whenever teacher is around with the children or teacher is thinking even of the children, she has to act as a leader. She has to identify a class of 24, maybe 30, sometimes even 50 I had seen. So how they are going to do justice to each and every child. So if you look at that way, so this leadership is something which comes with this profession. And of course, the COVID crisis or the pandemic crisis have made or had pushed everyone into conducting those online classes, where I'm sure many of the educators must have realized like where do they lack. So it's not about they lack, it's about the professional development and teachers training program, which were never given that much importance, has have started given the importance. I remember during this particular period of pandemic, I think the maximum teachers training program took place, right from their digital literacy to their the execution and delivery of the content. Because perhaps that was for the first time it came in the daylight, like where the struggle of the teacher happens, whether the person who's teaching is actually befitting into the profession or just like that the person is there. So if I look at the silver lining in this pandemic time, so silver lining has been there. Parents have started understanding the contribution of the teacher because the schools have reached home, all are working from home. Also, teachers have also realized how much is their readiness. So yes, there have been a teacher who are ready, there have been a teacher who have been doing a great job, but there have been many teachers who were not able to do the real work. Perhaps they were not aware of only like what exactly they are supposed to do. So all these things have been an eye opener, and I think we can always give a fresh start from here, whether it in terms of leadership or it is reimagining their own role, that they must understand that they are here to contribute towards the society through these children. They're not teaching a grade 5 child today. They're teaching a child what this child will become after 7, 8 years when the child would get into higher education, or maybe after 10 years or 15 years when the child would get into a real world. So basically, it's about understanding our own strengths, understanding our own weaknesses, getting empowered by the system and the society, and give a true meaning to your profession is something which came as a blessing to all of us. But yes, when we talk about educators' plight, as Ms. Manjit in the beginning also said, that educators have been treated as multitaskers. I mean, especially the educators who are working in the government schools. So after government school duties, they are supposed to perform many other duties. So I think it has to be a collaborative effort from all these sides. If as a parent we want to see our children getting best of the education, then as a society we must ensure that even these educators are getting best of the environment, best of the training and understanding of their work. So then only we can actually talk about the leadership in true sense. So there is a lot which can be spoken, which can be discussed,
Wow.
which can be brought, but I am leaving
Excellent.
this thing over here, and I want you to, unfold the questions, and perhaps I'll be, more enjoying in answering and listening to you both. But yes,
Wow.
in a nutshell, if UNESCO could identify the need, though it was very late, it took 2020 to even UNESCO also to realize the
Mm,
leadership and reimagining in teachers' cases. But now there shouldn't be any looking back. We all
mm.
have to contribute as an educator as well as a society.
Wow, excellent. I couldn't have asked for a better opening remarks that from both of you, जिसने पूरा ही बता दिया. तो दोनों का अपना अपना रोल है और दोनों सेक्शंस को अपनी अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी ही पड़ेगी. मेरा मानना है कि it's not a 100% relationship, it's a 200% relationship. As a member of civil society, as a parent, as a co-parent, I need to be of gratitude to the teachers, whether they are to anybody like teach us, because teachers are they teach the universe, they teach the world, right? That उन तो हमारा 100% हो, और जो टीचर्स हैं उनका अपने आप में 100% हो, फेथ हो, बिलीफ हो. और एक जो डॉक्टर कविता ने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली कि दे हैव टू लुक फ्रॉम एक्सेस क्या है उस फेथ और बिलीफ का. मेरे ख्याल से एक्सेस वो होगा कि हम वी आर हियर टू सर्व not just one grade 5 child or 1 year child, but generations. As Manjit ma'am said, that a teacher's contribution lives to eternity. Thank you so much, ma'am. moving on moving on to the next question. आप दोनों एजुकेशनिस्ट हैं, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, और हमारा पेज भी है ग्लोबल विमेन प्रेन्योर लीग. So my next question to both of you is entrepreneurship and education. How important are both as far as any crisis is concerned?
Hmm. So, would you like me to go first?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay. So, Savita, you use two words. One is entrepreneurship and the other is edupreneurship, right?
Education.
Education, yeah. So,
Yes.
edupreneur, right? So, an
Hmm.
entrepreneur is basically who? Someone who is going to test out, new waters, right? And
Hmm.
whether it succeeds and create a whole business plan around it, right? And yes, there is the element that there is profitability attached to it. Okay. Now, when we
Hmm.
come to education, very often we presume, assume, and deduce that education is a non-profit sector. Okay, it is
Okay.
absolutely non-profit, but ऐसा let's face fact. Today, if I am going to step into the field and I'm going to give quality education, get quality teachers, give them the best training, get the best curriculum, get the best infra, everything comes at a cost. है कि नहीं? So if you
Okay.
want quality, well, then you have to pay for it. As the age-old saying goes that, You give peanuts, you get monkeys, right? So yes, let's not shy away from the fact that when everything else, hospitals can be profit making, when health sector can be profit making, why not education? What is wrong with it? Yes, please lay down the policies, please lay down the SOPs, the do's and the don'ts and the processes. But yes, anyone who's wanting to step into the field of education as an edupreneur, as an entrepreneur, I think we should be going all out to support those people, right? So personally, I've conducted a number of womenpreneurship workshops. Women wanting to come into the education field, how to set up schools, how to set up units, which we call schools, how to do startups, what are the various factors, which is the pie that you are not aware of, where do you need help. So, uske liye, do you want to start up your own brand? Do you want to go into franchising? What suits you, your vision, and your pocket? Two things always. विजन तो है, साथ साथ में पॉकेट भी होती जरूरी है, ठीक है ना? सो वी should encourage women. I feel for the education sector, no offense meant to men, women just take to it naturally like fish to water. Now, saying this doesn't mean that the men cannot do a great job out of it. They can equally do a great job out of it, and they are doing. I know so many male principals and school heads and school chain owners and everyone who are doing a great job out of it. But I know equal number of women who are doing a superb job, a fantabulous job as principals, as heads of school units, as heads of school chains, who are doing a great job as well. So more power to them. Let the government come out with more initiatives, let them come out with more ESOPs, let them come out with more motivational factors, so that even the common woman, that the common female, everyday people like you and me also have aspirations, we also have dreams. So it is our duty to help them also flower, help them also find a
Awesome.
path. Nothing wrong with it. And if you want to get into the education sector, yay, yay, yay. Three cheers for you. The world needs more of women in the education. The world needs more of accomplished women. The world needs more of passionate women. And women, there is a fact, there is a study which I observed and I studied for a long time, which tells you that women in the education sector, or as edupreneurs, as entrepreneurs, they, once they start into this field and when they start making profits, they are very likely to plow those profits back into the education, back into the childcare sector. So, what a lovely motion of this whole cycle that you've set on. Once you motivate women to get into it, to be an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur of sorts, मोटिवेट है बिकॉज वो एक बारी वहां पे सेट होगी ना, वो कहीं नहीं जाने वाली. शी इज गोइंग टू डू अ ह्यूमन सर्विस, गोइंग टू स्टिक ओवर देयर लाइक मी. फॉर एग्जांपल, आई हैव बीन इन द एजुकेशन सेक्टर फॉर 25 years ऑलमोस्ट. मैं कहाँ गई? कहीं नहीं गई. इनफैक्ट मैं जा ही नहीं सकती बिकॉज आई डोंट नो एनीथिंग एल्स एक्सेप्ट फॉर एजुकेशन इन स्कूल एंड चिल्ड्रन एंड टीचर्स एंड principles. That's all I eat, breathe, live. So we need
Wow.
more such passionate women. We need more of you know, all of us, may our spirit multiply. Let's go all out. Let's create more platforms like this platform which we have, where women feel motivated and encouraged to step into the education sector, right? So more women like Anjana and me, I would say. And there are so many of them out there in the field. So a lot of, regards to you, a high five to you, and, yes, you can do it to you.
एब्सोल्युटली, वाओ, थैंक यू. तो एक चीज जो बहुत जरूरत होती है एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए, वो पैशन है. और वो कितना छलक रहा है कि एकदम अक्रॉस द, बिल्कुल डिजिटल मीडिया बैरियर नहीं रहा, आपका पैशन मुझ तक पहुंच गया. So I think that is one thing जो मेरा क्वेश्चन था, how are education and entrepreneurship in the crisis. तो हमारा जो पैशन है वो हमारे जो भी चैलेंजेस होंगे इवन इन अ क्राइसिस, शायद वो ये कर लेगा. और तब गवर्नमेंट भी हमें सपोर्ट करेगी तो पैशन और बढ़ेगा. तो वी मस्ट वर्क ऑन इट. वाओ, थैंक यू सो मच. ओवर टू यू डॉक्टर कविता फॉर योर थॉट्स.
Yeah. So thank you once again for such a wonderful question. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about education and educators turning the edupreneur precisely.
Hmm.
So there are
Yes.
various factors to it, right? Passion certainly is one thing because until unless you're passionate about your work, respectful about your work, nothing you cannot think anything different or differently. But when we talk about educational entrepreneurship, this is something we have to think a little differently also here, and we have to understand how. Suppose someone who's teaching in a school, one fine day decides that no, I want to do something my own. Maybe I want to start a company which develops content or a curriculum development, or maybe I want to start a company which is into training programs or the PDs, CDs, etc. There what happens is the mindset first of all that is very much required because again let us talk a bit more about education. So unfortunately our education doesn't teach entrepreneurship, it doesn't teach those skills. Now those skill sets are something which are very new for anyone who decides to get into entrepreneurship. Maybe the family has a business background, maybe the person has originally blessed with a business acumen, as well as certainly the objective, the purpose, and the passion also have a different role to play. But when we talk about all those things, then there is a lot of planning which goes into it. So whether even if you're starting your own company, you are a CEO of your company, but it doesn't mean that you will remain a CEO who's sitting in a plush office and just instructing others. For the day one, when you are getting into your entrepreneurship journey, you have to don all sort of hats. You have to be your front office person also, you have to be the head of the institution also, you have to be everything. So first of all, your readiness to accept such kind of the challenges, your flexibility, your adaptability, that matters. And when we are talking about it, then what plays a major role here is the self motivation. Because any business, it takes, first 1,000 days of any business, it takes its own way, it starts shaping up. So the challenges are many, number of teething issues are there. So one has to remain self-motivated with the correct goal setting, which will include the pessimistic and optimistic, both kind of the goal setting. Then also every entrepreneurship journey includes couple of risks. So the risk involvement, like how much are you prepared to take up those risks, whether these are the emotional challenges, mental challenges, or these are the monetary challenges. So how much, what is your readiness about it? Then understanding your business, what do you want to do? What is your objective? How do you want to set up the milestones and how do you want to move forward? What all legal, the formalities or considerations are here in between? So that kind of the awareness that is also very important. Then your own networking that matters. So the educators who are getting into entrepreneurship, they have to also get into a lot of networking. So but when you look at all these things, one thing which goes very strongly in the favor of educators is these are the things, they are self motivated, yes, in the class number of occasions they must have shown their self motivation. Are they planned? Yes, they do plan what they are going to teach the children today, tomorrow, next week. So their planning quotient is also very high. Their understanding of legal consideration or business acumen, if they don't know, but since being an educator, they are a patient listener too, and they can certainly, reach out to the people to give them the correct guidance. High risk involvement, yes, that is another thing, but there you have to have a little stronger, sense of owning a business or entrepreneurship, and above all, the leadership. That you are going to lead your business, you're going to lead your company. So how you're going to lead by example, how you're going to manage with the crisis. It could be any kind of the crisis. So when we see in a nutshell, for any educator who would like to venture into entrepreneurship, is not something that they cannot do it. On a scale of 10, if you start jotting down the points which are required, 6 or 7, almost all the educators in one or the other way, small or a big way, they have experienced. The only thing is they need a correct support, they need correct motivation from the others also. Yes, you can do it. And then they should be having an empowerment of taking the correct taking the decision. Wrong and right is a different thing, but taking the decision, even that needs guts. So perhaps how it can all change, I mean wherever we are sitting today we are sitting, but how we can bring this change right from the grassroots level is if in schools also we can start having various activities which develops the entrepreneurship skills. and that can actually lead to an understanding. So once you actually understand what you are going to do, how you are going to put it up, what is your goal setting, what are your milestones, what is your ultimate objective, and how do you want to stay in the market, keeping yourself upgraded all the time. Once you're clear with all those things, I think any crisis, because crises are there to bother us, they are there to, make us more, I would say, impactful. So they are there, but at least we learn how to overcome. And as an educator, the leadership, as I said, it goes hand in hand. So getting into or venturing into entrepreneurship is something that can be easily done. The only thing is the motivation is one area which is required, but it has to start from yourself. No one else can do it for you.
Wow, absolutely. So, one takeaway from your conversation is that um, it is an opportunity. Education and entrepreneurship is an opportunity and it is crisis proof. क्योंकि आपने जो जो बातें
Yes,
कही वो तो पैंडेमिक के पहले भी थी और आज भी है.
exactly.
So
True,
it's a
true.
huge opportunity, and given that there is this, we have a motivation and passion, as ma'am said, and then there is a conducive environment for that passion to take shape and to blossom. Wow, thank you so much. With this, I would like to take I would like to request both of you to share, what made you entrepreneurs in this field. So over to you, ma'am, Manjeet ma'am.
So I think one of the first things which uh, which kind of egged me on was my passion. I knew very clearly my vision that it lies in the education sector, right? And then after that, as Dr. Kavita was mentioning, then I strengthened my bags. Then I started getting to know that okay, which are the factors? Do I need to get a fair knowledge of the market scenario? Do I need to get a fair knowledge of my competition scenario? What all skills do I need to equip myself? Will I be my own salesman or will I take support? You know, and what are the IT support functions that I need to outsource or levy upon or take it from however I can manage to, right? And then, these little things, like the ROIs, which is the return on investment, what kind of a gestation period am I willing to go through? Okay, it's okay, when am I looking for returns? And it should be very, very clear in my head that I have the strength, I have the ability to hold on for that period of time and thereafter go into it. So, ye to the technical parts of it, which all of us, as as any kind of entrepreneurial venture, you need to have these ticks in your checklist, right?
Perfect.
And then,
Perfect.
as I said, it was my passion over there. And then I did the necessary budgeting, and very, very important for women, very, very important that we are very assured that it's not time and again we have to look back at our brothers or husbands or sons or cousins or uncles. Be self dependent. Make out your chart over there. Be ready to know where are your finances going to come from, what are the phased manners in which you're going to spend, and take decisions yourself. I take all my decisions myself, how much I spend, where do I spend, if I'm publishing books also. So what is my budget, what is my ROI, when, what body of work do I need to get into. So as Kavita was saying, you have to do everything. जब स्कूल खोलते हैं तब ड्राइवर भी बनते हैं, चौकीदार भी बनते हैं, nurse भी बनते हैं, doctor भी बनते हैं. So similarly with any kind of a venture, I've done everything. GST के बारे में पता करना कैसे होता है, अपने venture को list करना, and then the technical parts of it, when releases, what does it release. So a lot of growing up I did. The right word perhaps to do is that I grew up. you know. And I've done it along with my regular job. I was sure that I didn't want to leave it, you know. It was just an extension of my passion that I wanted to do. So that was my journey I'm talking about, Savita. So that is what, you know, kind of drove me. It's my passion, and it's going to keep me there. So my passion doesn't have a retirement age, period.
वाह, वाह, ये तो बहुत ही अच्छा कोट है हम लोगों के लिए, GWC पेज पर भी डाल सकते हैं, that your passion does not have a retirement age. Wow, really, thank you so much. And you shared with us so clearly about, the technicalities and the ultimately that it is your passion, and that it is such a marvelous thing that you did it along with your job, which must have meant, keeping awake many nights, managing lot many things. So I think gratitude filled congratulations to you, ma'am.
Not at all. And you know, just one minor thing, you know, supposing like if it is the arm of an author, you know, and going into publishing my own books is concerned, I was very clear you know, I am not J.K. Rowling, I am not Ruskin Bond, and J.K. Rowling and Ruskin Bond is not made in a day. Two things very clear. You know, you should be very, very clear about it, that it doesn't happen in a year, it doesn't happen in 2 years. You have to give it time, and your passion shouldn't fall down over a period of time. Whether it's my YouTube channel, you know, consistency is there. I'm not going to hit the 1 million mark, you know, next month or 4 months from now or 6 months from now. No, it takes time. But what I have to do is make sure that my content remains steady and quality content. That is a big challenge. हम शुरू तो कर लेते हैं हर वेंचर, लेकिन उसको पैशनेटली फॉलो अप करना, you know, I'm sure
Wow.
Kavita understands what I'm saying, you know.
And yes, we all do. And ma'am, I did not complete my question, but you did it so beautifully. And here's my completed question: what made you turn into entrepreneurs? I'm sure they can sow seeds in many of us reimagining the future. So in your conversation, I could see that my that unanswered question was answered. Thank you so much, Dr. Manjit, ma'am. And so over to you, Dr. Kavita Bajpai. So what made you turn into an entrepreneur? Thank you so much.
So such an interesting question. I would rather like to answer what made me to get into education as an educator. I think that laid the foundation of whatever I am today. So I always take pride by saying that I come from one of those few percentage across the globe of the educators fraternity who are into education by choice. So being a scholar throughout, whether it was my school or my university, I have been a scholar. So the day I decided that I want to step into teaching, and this is the ultimate career I want to pursue all my life. Believe you me, there were many who discouraged. They said, you have been doing so well, then why not something else? And every time people used to tell me, it used to hit me so badly. I said, education, I mean, being educator, why people do not take it as a very high profession? Noble profession, they will say, but they won't say that it's a very highly dignified profession. So that was, I started my career, but of course, I started my career with a dream that one day I will have my own school. Not because I was not very happy with the schools I was working with, not because of any other vacuum or a gap what I was feeling, because certainly everyone knows that the teaching or the education system is evolving. 20-25 years ago, when I started my teaching career, at that time things were very different. But now we see the things are changing and changing for good. Yes, there was in between a period, it was totally stagnant, and at that time nothing was moving. It was simply talk and chalk kind of the methodology, going to school, learning, coming back. For teachers also, it was a very robotic mechanism. It was. Now things have started changing. So, coming back to my thing, so I always wanted to have my school, and that is how I started my journey as an educator. Because I thought that overnight, I just cannot get into something and say, okay, look, I'm starting my school. I wanted to understand where all the shoe pinches. When you are an educator, where does it pinch? When you are the leader, what happens? When you are sitting on the other side of the table, then how it happens, how it has to move on. So when we look at it, so I have spent almost 23 years now into education, and almost 16, 17 years I've been working for. I was on roll with the best of the schools of the country and learned a lot. Yet every time I found that, of course, the school has a vision, school has its own ethos, everything is there, but there is something which is a gap and which doesn't let the school stick to its ethos, its vision, or its mission statement. Despite the fact that they do best of their, best to their abilities, they try to bring in the facilities also. So I started exploring a little more, and then I realized, no, I mean, I'm talking about the schools which are just the cream of the society, kind of these schools. Let us talk about elsewhere also. I started reaching out to various teachers who were teaching in small little private schools or maybe some government schools. And when I started reaching out to them, I found that what they lack is that there is a plan for the school's physical environment, that is the infrastructure. There is a plan for children, like they should be taught, and this is how the assessment has to happen, this is how they have to move, and all that. But none of these schools have any plan where they say how they will be developing teachers or how they are bringing them into the action with a contemporary mindset. So then I thought that perhaps maybe once I start my own school, these are the areas that I really want to focus. Maybe today I start, tomorrow there will be two, three who get more inspired, and from there, it's a chain reaction. So basically, my idea was to come up with a concept school, which school doesn't only talk about the students, but it covers all its stakeholders, whether the parents or the educators or the children or even the ancillary staff also. So training was one major area which was lacking, and we found that we can start focusing on this part to develop the schools in a better way. So basically, if you ask me how I got into entrepreneurship, perhaps in one line I can say the gaps which I could identify right on time helped me, motivated me, and inspired me to be more into a setup where the reins are in my hands. I know, like, I can bring these changes even if I'm going to do it. Maybe it is going to be a little heavy on us monetarily, but we know that the long term profits are there, long term benefits are there. Then why not? So yes, somewhere the feel that yes, I have to create a system, I have to create a movement or a drive where the educators are also getting heard, where the educators are also getting trained, and they are being told that, look, what you have done is not enough. You have to keep on evolving. There's a very beautiful quote I read from Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. A teacher can never truly teach until unless the teacher himself or herself is upgrading themselves. Because the teacher has to continue to teach himself. It's very simple. One lamp can never light another until it continues to burn. It is
Right.
a very, very simple thing. So
Right.
the teachers have to understand what is lacking and what is going wrong. So basically,
Absolutely.
my idea of getting into entrepreneurship was this only. So that is how I started a school as one of the founders for that school. And I also have started a sister concern of it, which focuses a lot on the children coming from humble background, the educators coming from humble background, then the teachers training, various pedagogical approaches, which maybe in India, due to demographic needs, are not. You cannot just replicate the model, but you can tweak it and then you can replicate it, as well as creating a network where these educators can reach out to the other educators of the world and they can interact with them a little more. So it's all about that only. Perhaps any one of us
It's
can
about
do that if we know where the gaps are. We can start
so
plugging in those gaps. So two things happen. Like you, of course, your journey as an entrepreneur start, plus you continue to contribute towards the society. So that was it.
great, great. So in that case, in your case, it's your vision that has led you to entrepreneurship, right? And creating a whole paraphernalia so that you can contribute to the education system. Wow. Thank you so much. So now a very quick question to both of you, given that we've had exhaustive conversations on two moot questions. So the first question is to Manjeet ma'am, which is that how has it been donning so many hats?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I really wouldn't have it any other way. I always say, कि, there is the goddess Durga. So essentially, the goddess Durga is the teacher, right? And the arms, I am essentially a teacher. And all my arms are, my extensions of my passion, my interest, my strengths, my capabilities. That's how I see it. And these arms motivate me. है ना? Teacher ko bhi, as Kavita was saying, you have to be constantly motivated. The lamp, if the lamp is not burning, how will you light another lamp? So to keep my inner lamp burning, that's how I see
Wow.
the extensions and those hats which I wear, which I have chosen. Nobody put a gun to my head and said कि आपको ये भी करना है, and all. अच्छी खासी जिंदगी चल रही थी, ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी ने, there was force, but those are of my choosing. And so that's why I keep myself motivated and charged on and keep looking for avenues. Where can I get motivation from? How can I be, getting new thoughts, new ideas, etc. So, in brief, that's the answer for you, Savita.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. Like loads of inspiration for all of us, like really for women entrepreneurs especially. Like we also want to diversify. Like I am a lawyer by profession and I am an author. And before an author, I am also a relationship with in-laws expert. And that's how I wrote this book. It's called Rising in Love with Your In-Laws, Unlocking Code to Extraordinary Relationship with Your In-Laws. So it's a very important takeaway for me. Like how I am diversifying is about me, what I want to choose. I'm choosing to diversify and to contribute uh, through different mediums. Like ये सारे जो हो गए वो मीडियम्स हो गए एक ही बात को कन्वे करने के लिए. So very powerful message for us as women entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, ma'am. And to Dr. Kavita, I was having gone through your profile, just a quick take on, throw some light on your heritage conservation. Thank you so much.
Sorry, yeah. So heritage, see, I think I am a person who's too much rooted. What if I am here in the country? For me, education doesn't mean that what a grade 8 child should be taught, which textbook, and the textbook oriented, the education. So, heritage is one thing which I feel that India is full of its historical value, or as well as the mythological value as well, because there are a lot of mythological stories too. But what is happening off late, maybe due to the nuclear families, maybe people are migrating from their native to bigger cities and even different countries. So what is happening? The children somehow they are not as connected to their roots, and no one is to be blamed. It's just the pace, I guess, of the world which has to be blamed.
Wow.
And since the in our efforts, in our sincere efforts of matching this pace of which the world is running nowadays, I think we are not getting enough time to stay connected through our roots. So I thought, why not? I mean, children are the best, and especially when you talk about the age group that is, maybe 3 years to 14 years, which actually, in my eyes, these are the formative years, and these are the areas where I feel that more you bring it to them, more you try to tell them, they get involved, and they also start feeling the way you are bringing your concept to them. So I was in Ahmedabad at that time, and as a part of my small experiment in the school, I started a heritage program. So right from grade 2 to grade 6, we were running this program where Ahmedabad is more than 600 years old city. So just to tell about that city, how the lifestyle used to be earlier, how the name of the city has been given, if the names have been changed, who all are the popular faces from the city and all those things. We started talking about it. So every week we used to give one dedicated session where there is to be a lot of discussion. There was lot many presentations and work, the handwork and the work. We used to call the artisans also to display their work, to teach the children the work. So we found that these children suddenly they started getting too much interested about how the world used to be earlier. What they have not seen, perhaps they have only heard it from their parents, and even some of the children didn't know about those stories as well. But when we started bringing it in the school and these children used to go home, we started getting fantastic reviews from the parents. I mean, parents used to come to us and tell us, even we didn't know, like, Ahmedabad is such a rich city in terms of heritage. We didn't know that this particular pot used to call bamba, or this is the purpose of chabutra, all those things. So when we found that okay, it is going very well, then I thought, see, every city, every whether you're talking about tangible or non-tangible heritage, there is a story associated with it. And if we actually create a framework, and that framework can be run anywhere in any form. Like, for example, my framework, we can run the same framework in Mumbai, we can run the same framework in Delhi, what we have been running in Ahmedabad. The only thing is you have to just bring the changes as per the local available resources. And the results are amazing. At least children, they feel connected to their roots. They take a lot of pride when they talk about their country, and then they know so much, right from the old food habits to the clothing, to the history, to the stories associated with it, and also the real stories, just not like which is floating in the society. So I realize that heritage is one medium where we can actually connect our present to the richness of the past to create a better future. So
Wow.
this is how thank you so much. So this is how I started designing it, and I started reaching out to of course, my own students that I was heading the school, and the other students also. So we found that yes, the results were coming fantastic, and now we are trying to work upon something where we are also going to work upon the handloom and the artisans, the folklores, all those things we need to work a little more, and then we want to bring it maybe as a part of the school curriculum, which will be associated in a very interdisciplinary mode. So they would be learning, they would be gaining, and yet it's going to be a smooth and a natural process with them. So the work is on. So heritage is something I feel at first we should be proud of it. And once you're proud of your own heritage, I'm telling you, you don't have to be taught the patriotism. It comes automatically, right? And
Hmm.
everyone is so patriotic about their country. And if you know why your country is such, full of varied heritage or such rich legacy it is carrying, then it brings a lot of difference even in the minds of the young children. So it is
Maybe
nothing but inculcating the values and attributes right at a very young age.
to add on to what your motives and intentions are, maybe brain drain रुक जाए, या अभी जो हम लोग
I
बहुत
don't think so.
I mean, अभी जो हम लोग बहुत कम सुनते हैं, like we hear about many people who've returned, and it is their choice. I mean, nothing to. It is just that I'm sharing as a citizen from a citizen point of view. If one has studied so much, earning in huge dollars, but has returned to serve the nation, it's really extraordinary. Maybe it could lead to that too. Just an add-on to
Uh,
what your intentions are.
Maybe, or maybe what my idea of this is, wherever you are, you should feel proud of the fact that yes,
Yeah,
you come from this country. Because brain drain is something I think in times to come, perhaps this global village concept is going to be even more stronger. So just the political
Mhm.
boundaries will be there, but I don't think so that
No,
the
no, in
brain
the
drain would
sense of,
actually exist.
yeah, in the sense of, as I said, as I shared with you, to serve your nation more at another level, if I may say so. I mean, ब्रेन ड्रेन के टेक्निकल वर्ड्स में मत जाइए, मैं एक स्पिरिट की बात कर रही हूँ, उसकी ethos की बात कर रही हूँ. It has been lovely speaking with you all, and we have had lovely comments from or for all of you. You both have explained so well all our questions and all your concepts, and the work that both of you are doing in the area of education, this serving the society at various levels. I saw YouTube videos of Manjit ma'am. They were so fabulous, so interesting, and it is also in the age group of, say, I think below 5 or maybe up to 7. And your heritage is also, you said, around 3 to 14, you said. So it is actually, you both of you are working in formative years, which is so crucial and important for the society. And I think it is in these formative years जहाँ हमें भी कुछ accesses चाहिए, as parents, क्योंकि 14 के बाद तो they know everything, and they have their career choices, they have, हम जितनी मेहनत शायद कर सकते हैं वो अभी तक कर सकते हैं. सो आई जस्ट विश बोथ ऑफ योर, आपके जो भी मैसेजेस हैं, जो हमारे व्यूअर्स देख रहे हैं, या हम में जो आपके मैसेज क्रॉस कर सके, that we must collaborate with you, be partners with you in your endeavors, so that आपके जो lovely altruism filled messages हैं, जो आपका commitment है, जो आपका vision है, वो fulfill हो सके. And of course global womenpreneur clique will be privileged and blessed to, collaborate and partner and to serve you in whatever manner we can, in order to fulfill your lovely visions. I think you're welcome, ma'am. And I think there couldn't have been a better topic to discuss on the Teachers' Day, a better way to thank you, to celebrate you. And we are having many messages who are saying thank you so much to all of you. And looking forward to listening to you all yet again in yet another episode in future. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us over. It was totally a pleasure and honor, and equal gratitude from our side as well. And great to know Savita and Kavita, rhyming words and beautiful names and beautiful people. Thank you so much. Great to know you both.
You're welcome. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you so very much, and my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you associated with this platform. And my small message to the world that do not underestimate the power of an educator. Because I remember there was a serial called Chanakya, and in Chanakya there was one scene which is still imprinted in my mind as clearly, as vividly as it was at that time. And he said, जब उनको घनानंद के court से he was basically thrown out. Before leaving, he said just one statement, and he proved it correct. So I think we are quite empowered even by the system also. It's about we have to identify our power. So I would like to quote him here, and this is exactly my message to all of us, to all the educators, parents, and everybody else around. So Chanakya said, शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता क्योंकि निर्माण और प्रलय दोनों उसकी गोद में खेलते हैं. So I think this is exactly what we are, and this is exactly what the power is. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. Absolutely. Yes. So true. So true. That is like it's the spirit. That's how, मतलब मुझे लगता है ये सेंटेंस जो हमारी सारी बातों को ओवरटेक करता है. क्योंकि हम अगर किसी भी सर्विस की बात करें, किसी भी सर्विस पर्सनल की बात करें, किसी भी प्रोफेशन की बात करें, किसी भी सैलरीड क्लास एंटरप्रेन्योर्स किसी की भी बात करें, तो उसको उसमें एक शिक्षक इनबिल्ट होता है, उसका कंट्रीब्यूशन इनबिल्ट होता है. तो डेफिनेटली जो
Absolutely.
शिक्षक की पदवी है वो सबसे ऊपर है. तो इट इज एक्चुअली बियॉन्ड कंपैरिजन एनी अदर, क्योंकि बाकी सब उन्हीं के से आए हैं. देयर वुड हैव बीन नो
Right.
टीचर, देयर वुड बी स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस, राइट?
So, you
Great.
know, Kavita, like for a teacher, from the teacher's mindset, if you ask me what do you do, I would say I teach. But it's just not that I teach. Maybe in future I would be, I mean, my teaching would leading an onco surgeon performing a correct and life-saving surgery on someone. There will be someone who would be building world's greatest structure. There will be someone who would be, becoming a next J.K. Rowling. So the teacher's
So
element, the
teachers,
teaching is
if
everywhere.
I,
So today we are
yes,
teaching, but we will be there in future also with them in one or the other places. So
yes, yes.
yeah,
Teachers, so as I shared before, teachers always must consider that they teach us. Us में हम सभी आते हैं, मतलब वो इतने important और powerful हैं. So we should not definitely underestimate the power of a teacher. Thank you so much, everyone. Lovely having both of you today. Thank you.